What's up, everybody? Bandit and Chad here, and we're really glad to be back. Thank you all for understanding. We just really need to take a break, spend some time with our families. We did take a couple of trips and everything else, but we are really excited to be back with you all. So today we're going to be talking about the 1.05 OVTune, and it is a huge difference for the trucks. You might notice actually that we are in Chad's truck, and the real news with that is that he got it for his. But before we get into this video, we do want to remind you all, I did get the shipment in from Treaty Oak Off-Road, and we will be giving away one of those soft shackles, excuse me. So if you are interested in one of those, please look up that video. We will put a link to that down below, but definitely look that up. We are just giving this thing away, and all you have to do is subscribe to our channel, which we do really appreciate the support, and leave us a comment on why you think you would want it or deserve it. We are really excited to give that away. I'm a huge fan of those soft shackles and of Treaty Oak Off-Road, so we definitely wanted to remind you all of that. But without further ado, let's get to the video. So again, back here on cruise control, you can see it just kicks down there into 6th gear, and that's really one of the major differences, wouldn't you say, Chad?
Yeah, so one of the big things that Matt did and his team at Orange Virus had said that they were definitely going to be making more use out of 5th and 6th gear, because one complaint that a lot of 3rd-gen Tacoma owners were saying was that 4th gear was used quite a lot, and that's understandable to an extent because that is the I guess 1-to-1 gear. It's not using any of the overdrive gears that are in our transmissions, and obviously when you're going up a hill, for the most part you're not going to be in top gear because you're going to be trying to get most of the power out to keep your speed, obviously. So it's really nice to be able to enjoy 5th and 6th gear a lot more in this tune. It really creates a much more refined and calming, I guess, driving experience in these trucks, and you also do benefit from a bit better fuel economy.
Right, and I really do feel like that the power difference is fairly noticeable. Chad's actually towed with his truck. I've been hauling my 4-wheeler a good bit, and you know, it is definitely smarter transmission tuning, and that's very, very apparent. But also, I really feel like the low-end torque is pretty apparent as well, honestly.
It is. He was able to tune and change valve timing and ignition timing and make use of all these different types of fuel that you can use. Obviously, where we are in Virginia, we don't get any 91 that I've seen anyways.
Right, no.
It goes 87, 89, and 93. And there have been some gas stations that I've been to in the past, usually in other states, that have a 4th option. I can't remember what it is.
E85.
Exactly. Oh, it's probably just E85, which is rare, or at least around the gas stations that I go to.
Right.
But yeah, making use out of the 93 tune. In previous iterations, Matt has said that there have been gains between 20 and 25 horsepower, and same with torque, I believe. And I would say that not only is the power more focused within a smaller range than it has been in the past, but it definitely does feel like the truck is, I guess, a little bit more powerful.
Exactly. And really what you're doing is, again, we talked about this in the 1.04 update, but this is even better. You know, the maps that we're using here are way, way bigger with all of the Orange Virus mapping instead of just the Toyota mapping. But really what you're doing is you're setting your truck up in a more intelligent way. You're telling the truck that you're going to run a specific fuel and under a certain set of conditions, and you're optimizing your truck for those conditions. And definitely the results are apparent. So the biggest news here with 1.05 is really that everything is new. Now, with the older iterations of this tune, there were some updates, and basically what Matt from OVTune would do is he would take the Toyota stock tuning maps for the transmission, the engine tuning, the timing. There were a whole plethora of different things, and he would basically tweak them a little bit and set them up for, you know, the type of tune you're running. So there was an 87 octane tune and a 91 octane tune. Well, the difference now is all of those maps are now gone, and you're running maps that are specifically designed by Orange Virus Tuning, and they are huge compared to the stock Toyota tunes. And also, we're getting a 3rd tune now. So we're getting the 87 and 91 just like before, but we're also getting a 93 octane tune, which works great here in Virginia because we can get the 93 octane fuel.
Right. So 93 octane is what I'm running right now in the truck and have been for quite some time. I knew that I was getting the tune soon, so I figured, okay, I'm going to burn through the majority of the tank tank of what I was running at the time, which was 87, because I had no other reason to run anything, because whether you ran 93, 87, 92, whatever's out there, your truck is going to run pretty much just the same, because Toyota doesn't really accommodate for the ability to create some more power out of those higher octane fuels. So I emptied the tank out pretty much, just drove it pretty low, and then would fill it up with 93 and knew that my tune was coming in. Tune came in, got it all taken care of and loaded onto the truck, and then it started the learning process. Basically, like when you get the truck brand new off the lot, it's going to learn your driving style. It is somewhat similar in that the truck has to do like fuel trims, kind of go through all the motions of what was put into that tune by Orange Virus, and then it starts to, I guess for lack of better words, settle out. What has been recommended is basically for like if you install a new part, like go a little easy on it at first. Like you don't have to go and just drive like 0 to 60 as fast as you can with the new tune, and that is kind of fun because you do get some more power out of it. But yes, it's kind of like a new part. You got to let it break in to some extent, and then everything does kind of really smooth out. And he and I have both put about 500 miles on our tunes individually, doing lots of different things. The majority of my driving so far on this tune has actually been with towing a vehicle, which on this 93 octane tune and new transmission tuning and everything like that works really, really well in ECT power mode. And if you put it over into sport mode and limit it to fourth gear, it works really, really well.
Right, and with all of that, there is actually a new mode that you can request from Orange Virus Tuning. We don't have it yet, but if y'all are interested, definitely let us know in the comment section below. But actually, there is a true shift lockout. So before, if you'd put it over into sport mode in 1.04 or in any of Toyota's tunes, basically that was a shift suggestion. And what I mean by that is if you put it in sport, it automatically defaults to gear 4. Well, that doesn't mean you're in gear 4. That means you're in somewhere between 1, 2, 3, or 4. But really, if you would start really pushing it, it would still shift up to 5 or 6 if it needed it. With this, if you put the ECT power and into sport mode, it truly holds the gear. So you're truly in third gear. If you would put it in third, you're truly in fourth if you put it in fourth. And from what I've been reading about it, again, I haven't tried this out personally, but you can just about stall the truck out or bounce it off the rev limiter, and it's going to hold that gear, which is really a neat feature.
Right. The one thing about it that I guess he has implemented is that if you are, say, in third gear, it's like a manual transmission, except obviously there's no clutch usage at all. If, like you said, you could nearly almost stall it out, but there is the safety feature built in that once it gets down to like almost near idle or whatever it is, that it'll automatically downshift and do just what a normal automatic transmission would. But if you are driving in third gear like a manual transmission and you stomp your foot and press the accelerator all the way to the floor, it's going to drive just like a manual transmission would. It's going to sit there and climb however fast or however slow it is, depending on speed, RPM, everything like that. So
right, and one good thing to note with this is it's not really just for sporty applications. It could also be, if you're going down the interstate and you feel that it still shifts down a good bit more, which again, it doesn't shift down into fourth hardly at all now on highway runs. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But you could actually put it in that lockout mode and leave it in sixth, and you might start going up a hill on the interstate and you'll lose speed, but the truck won't even shift down from what I've read, which is really another really cool feature. So this is my second separate tune from Orange Virus Tuning. I did run 1.04 and now 1.05, and I can tell without a doubt that 1.05 is a lot more comprehensive. This is Chad's first tune. He has just only run 1.05, but now you're seeing kind of two separate perspectives. I use my truck for different things than Chad does, so we can really get a better idea of how all of this works. He was just talking about how he's been towing a lot with his. We'll get to that here in a second, but with mine, I've been hauling my four-wheeler a little bit. I've been, doing all kinds of different driving, mountain driving, back roads, on the interstate. And actually, I recorded one of my best ever interstate runs. So I was going from Shenandoah County down here to school in Blacksburg. And I actually recorded 20.8 miles to the gallon, which is really good. My truck was loaded down. I had everything on it. We still are on the Cooper 265/75 R16 tires, which are an all-terrain load range C, so definitely a good bit heavier than the stock tires, and that's really good. Overall, it is all uphill. We're gaining I think it's roughly 1,000 feet in elevation between home and here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And you know, when you consider all that, it is about 160 miles. I feel like that's pretty good. Now, obviously, going home, it is all downhill. I will let you all know exactly how that goes when I actually get to go home, which will be great. Really, I was very impressed with that. You want to talk about your experience a little bit?
Sure, yeah. So far, with the Tune, obviously, the long runs that I've gotten in with it have been just by towing, and that's about 200 miles for me. I was towing from Winchester down to Blacksburg, Blacksburg up to Winchester, everything like that. And what I recorded, fuel economy-wise, is going to be poor, obviously, by comparison. I was towing anywhere... I honestly didn't calculate it a whole lot, but it's right around 5,000 pounds is what we kind of figured it was between the trailer and the Suzuki Sidekick that was on there. We were towing that, and once I finished up my run, it was right around like 8.2 or 8.3 miles a gallon, something like that. I was in fourth gear the entire time, except for if I got up to a grade and I had the cruise control on at like 65, I didn't really go too fast while towing. And it would downshift to third to get me, you know, moving up the hill a little bit, but it was still a really smooth shift. It didn't feel like it was really struggling, and it really pulled well once it got up into the higher RPM range, right around 5,000 RPM, while towing that load behind me. And obviously, with this Tune, it is giving you a little bit more power, and it really just, it seems to drive better in general, whether you're towing, hauling, or doing day-to-day stuff with an unloaded truck.
Right, and one thing to keep in mind here, I mean, max towing for these trucks is just under 7,000 pounds. So Chad is getting relatively close to that. You know, if that is just the weight of the Sidekick and the trailer, I'm sure you had other stuff in the truck as well, other passengers and everything else. So really, you're seeing kind of two completely different perspectives. One, you know, pushing the truck at the limit. One, me hauling my four-wheeler and stuff, you know, somewhat loaded, and then basically unloaded, backroads driving and everything like that. And actually, I was going from Harrisonburg to my house. I'm not sure if I told you this. Okay. And I actually recorded 28 miles to the gallon, which again is downhill. I was going north, but
was this on Route 11 or 8?
Yeah, it was on Route 11. But okay. I was very, very impressed with that. I thought they were very respectable numbers, and really, I mean, that's some of the best numbers I've ever seen out of my truck, which is really great. We're seeing more power out of these trucks. It's definitely able to be felt, and at least as good fuel economy. I would say probably a little bit better, all things considered. But sure. Certainly well worth the money in our opinions. So that pretty much wraps up everything we have to talk about in this video. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of comments regarding my silly hat and everything else, but it is really, really cold here. It's really cold everywhere, to be honest with you. And, you know, this is just how you got to deal with it. But there is a lot of other exciting news. I'm actually getting a new vehicle over the weekend. Really excited about that. It'll definitely be on the channel. And this one's more sentimental to me. It's not necessarily something that I'm sure y'all will be excited about. But I'm really excited about the new challenge, and really excited to see where all it'll take us. But there is a new version of the Tacoma coming very, very soon. It will be next week at the Chicago Auto Show, next Thursday actually, and we will give you an update on all of that when it comes out. Again, all of the information for this is in the description of this video. Be sure and check that out. There is a huge write-up on the Orange Virus website, really explaining all of this in detail, showing graphs and everything else. So definitely check all of that out. And also, be sure to go over and watch that video regarding all of the Treaty Oak off-road stuff. We will be drawing for that next week, so definitely go sign up for that. Hopefully one of y'all walks away with it and you're really happy with it. So thank you all very much for watching. Have a fantastic week, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
See you guys.